Multiple sources are reporting that the Packers and Jets have agreed to terms on a deal for Aaron Rodgers, meaning the terms have been agreed upon. Now we wait on the man himself. Does Aaron Rodgers want to come back and play football for the New York Jets, or does he want to retire? Those are his options right now. This trade is essentially done in theory, and we wait Aaron Rodgers. We wait Aaron Rodgers. We want to know if Aaron Rodgers wants to retire or come back and say, New York Jets country, let's ride.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
This trade is essentially done, ladies and gentlemen. All we do is sit and await Aaron Rodgers to make his decision to either retire or go play for the New York Football Jets. That's all we have right here in front of us. And it's been kind of that way for the last 24 hours, but multiple reports certainly confirming it to be true at this point. And even last night, there was a clip of Packers. Here, let me play this for you. Packers president. Let me get this here. Saying essentially that Jordan Love's ready, that Aaron Rodgers will be a Hall of Famer. Aaron Rodgers' jersey will be retired. He can come back and will retire his jersey. He's using verbiage in the past tense. So this is done. This is done if Aaron Rodgers wants to play football in 2023. It's done. He's a New York Jet, which is really, really exciting. And we got a whole lot of players to talk about that this impacts, obviously, from Garrett Wilson to Breece Hall, and what this does for Christian Watson. This is huge news, and we're just sitting here waiting on Aaron Rodgers. My guess, the time frame is going to be within the next 24 hours, possibly the moment I go out of my house to run an errand is when I expect it to fully happen, because that's the way it goes. But I think within the next 24 hours, could be the next hour or two, this man Aaron Rodgers will be announcing that he's coming back to football for sure. We know that's happening. And he's playing for the New York Football Jets. Let's go. And the things, the ramifications or the impact, let's say. Garrett Wilson. Let's speak to Garrett Wilson for a second. Your boy Smitty has a video dropping, and I've been kind of waiting for this so I can make sure it's dated properly. It's got this information in it. But there's a video dropping. Garrett Wilson's involved. There's a video dropping. Another player's involved. This is kind of like a hammering home of predictions on top of predictions. The video's coming the moment this news is official. So look for that, or a little bit after this news is official. Well, we got so much other stuff we need to talk about in relation to this. In relation to this news, Christian Watson. What happens to Christian Watson once this is official? Christian Watson, is he going to drop off a little bit? Will he stop developing the way he was developing? Was he already fast-tracked long and far enough that he's going to be a top 7 to 12 wide receiver? I firmly believe that is the case. We'll talk more about that when this is official. Garrett Wilson, is he a top 5 wide receiver? I say almost certainly. Even if Aaron Rodgers doesn't land in New York, let's say he retires, and they bring in Mike White, and Mike White commands this offense. He's still 5 to 8. You know what I mean? Maybe his top 1 to 5 isn't really tagged to him, but we have that 5 to 7, like 5 to 8. He's still going to be a top 10 wide receiver. But with Aaron Rodgers, it's safely nestled inside the top 5. That's what Garrett Wilson comes with Aaron Rodgers by his side. And the value he comes with without Aaron Rodgers is still 5 to 8 or 5 to 10 at least. So Breece Hall, I think Breece Hall's the real winner here if Aaron Rodgers does in fact decide to return and play for the New York Jets, because playing for the Green Bay Packers is almost it's not going to happen at this point. It's coming back to New York or it's retiring. And Breece Hall is such a benefactor of this. And by the way, this is live. I appreciate you guys being here. First in the building was Jeb, followed by Ben, followed by Peanut Butter and Waivers. I'm very anxious to hear what you guys have to say about this. I haven't checked the chat too much yet. Breece Hall benefits probably more than anybody because this guy is coming off an ACL tear. This guy is going to have so much more room to run. The rushing lanes will be just this much more open on the left side, this much more open on the right side, this much more open in the A and B gaps, and just trying to get this guy going and on his horse. It's going to be so vital for him. He's going to have just so much more little bits of room to run here and there. And on top of that, it's like, think about it from this perspective. If Breece Hall maybe doesn't have the yards per carry we want from weeks 1 through 8, as he's getting on his horse, he's trying to get going, and he's just trying to get his step and his explosion. Living in the red zone doesn't hurt nobody. Living near the goal line doesn't hurt nobody. This guy could have 7 touchdowns in the first 8 weeks and have lower yards per carry than we want, or low yardage. And then week 8, 9, 10, 11, he starts unleashing the beast. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I want for Breece Hall. I want Breece Hall to live in a potent environment. And what better environment than with a quarterback that likes to dump off and throw the football to his running back? Is there a quarterback in the National Football League that you might trust more throwing to his RB? I don't think so, because this man made Aaron Jones. This guy threw to Aaron Jones constantly. And I don't know if you guys saw the Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and Sauce Gardner video on Sauce Gardner's YouTube, but they basically burned the cheese head already. They said, hey, remember Sauce Gardner said, hey, A-Rod, and Smitty, when Aaron Rodgers comes to town, I promise not to pick him off in practice. I promise to burn my cheese head. And in anticipation of Aaron Rodgers coming, Sauce Gardner on his YouTube with Breece Hall, with Garrett Wilson, all celebrating Aaron Rodgers' name, all welcoming him in, all playing with him and saying, hey, we love you, Aaron Rodgers, in this playful video. They spent a whole, it was like 30-minute video burning and talking about burning, and then eventually burning the cheese head. The hat that Sauce Gardner wore disrespectfully after the Aaron Rodgers game, and it was a big controversy, and everybody loved it, but it was, controversy. He was trying to disrespect A-Rod. He was disrespecting Packer fans wearing the cheese head. He burned it. He even apologized to Packer fans to try and make that right. What a class act. What a class act from this guy, Sauce Gardner, who is the best cornerback, not sophomore, rookie of the year. This is the best cornerback in the National Football League. The best cornerback in the National Football League. This is the best defense in the National Football League. And Aaron Rodgers is going to support this defense. They're going to cascade back and forth. You help me, I help you. I help you, you help me. Defense helps the offense. Offense helps the defense. Ball control. Let's go. Let's go. This is going to be such an exciting move once it's official. Again, multiple sources report the Packers and Jets have agreed to terms already. We're awaiting Aaron Rodgers' decision to return to football, to play for the Jets, or retire. Those are his two options. And again, Green Bay Packers GM made it abundantly clear. There's clips. I'll put them on my Instagram in a little bit, of him saying things in the past tense regarding Aaron Rodgers, saying things about how Jordan Love, is ready, saying things like these things happen. It's very rare for players to play for one team their entire career. Just complete telegraphing that this is already done in terms of the terms. And now we wait for the man to approve or disapprove returning to football, because that's the only option. And there's no point of return at this point. We are at the point of no return. It's not like the Packers have decided to go back to Aaron Rodgers. It would be too awkward if Aaron Rodgers said, you know what? I'm not going anywhere. Then we have a boardroom meeting and we're scratching our head, and that's not going to happen. Aaron Rodgers is too much pride to go back to a place where the team's already we're moving on. This is already in full effect. And we don't even know how much of that full effect is due to Aaron Rodgers' community and closed doors with the Packers saying, get it rolling. get it rolling. I'll be back in a little bit to officially announce whether I go to the Jets or whether I retire. But get the ball rolling. Get Jordan Love fired up. Let's let Jordan Love take over. See if he can be the third quarterback to stretch this thing out for the Green Bay Packers so that they can have, 3 QBs over the course of 40 years. Because, Green Bay Packer fans don't realize how lucky they are that since the very early 90s, they've had 2 quarterbacks. Since the very early 90s, when some of you were sharting in your pants, or maybe you weren't even born yet, you didn't have the luxury of sharting in your pants yet. This team has had 2 quarterbacks. Brett Favre, early 90s, all the way up to the Aaron Rodgers movement, 15 years of A-Rod. This has been an unbelievable ride for the Green Bay Packers. They think they might have a quarterback that could be the third guy. They don't know. You don't know. I don't know. We could say we don't like Jordan Love. We could say Jordan Love's not it. We don't know. We heard the same thing about Aaron Rodgers. We heard that Aaron Rodgers is not going to replace Brett Favre. Are you out of your mind? I remember because I've watched both of them play. Okay? Yes, I did. Unfortunately, I'm not old. I watched Brett Favre transition to Aaron Rodgers after I watched a lot of Brett Favre play. So I was very, very cemented into the thinking that no one's going to replace Brett Favre. These are big shoes to fill. This guy, Aaron Rodgers, coming in. What's Aaron Rodgers do? Steps in, becomes better than Brett Favre. You could argue it. I understand. No problem. But Aaron Rodgers, to me, is one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. He's still got the talent, and Green Bay doesn't offer him even close to the amount of weapons and opportunity that the Jets do. The Jets are a top 6-7 team right now. The moment Aaron Rodgers is officially traded to the New York Jets, so this announcement's made, he is going to bring this team into the top 6, 7, 8 overall in the NFL immediately. The defense alone, coupled with Aaron Rodgers, coupled with Garrett Wilson, coupled with Breece Hall, and then Sauce Gardner in that defense, this is the most exciting club in the National Football League in terms of talent. And the Niners have a grip of talent. They don't utilize it as much when they don't have a good quarterback in position to disperse the ball. So they're held back by the quarterback position. Maybe Trey Lance unlocks that as they await Trey Lance's maybe revival, or Purdy comes back week 1. Who knows? But that team's comparable in terms of weaponry. It really is. But I think the Green Bay Packers sending Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets puts the Jets in a position to be arguably the most exciting team in the National Football League in 2023 without much equivocation, without much hesitation. And the New York Jets will be potentially in my top 4 or 5 predictions for the Super Bowl champion at the end of the year. So I'm very curious to know what you think. As a Vikings fan, this is the greatest news ever. This must be how the Bills felt when Brady left. I watched Rodgers and Favre play. Rodgers and Favre, you could argue one over the other, bro. Which is worse, 28-3 or trading away Favre? Let's see here. Discount double check in Rodgers' neighborhood, not going to happen. Discount double check in Rodgers' neighborhood, not going to happen. What's not going to happen, Jason? What's not going to happen? This inevitable, already done in principle trade? What are we doing here? Your sources are about as good as January 6th committee. That's interesting, Jason. So my sources are NBC Sports. My sources are the Packers president. Jason. Don't embarrass yourself, Jason. Tom, let's see. Deal is not agreement, Smitty, says TM42. We've got multiple sources that say it is. Which was worse, 28-3 or I don't know. All right, let's see what you guys are talking about on Twitter. Despite report contrary, the Packers, Jets. This is from Tom. Okay. Framework Aaron Rodgers per sources. Both sides continue to await word from Aaron Rodgers. Well, that's the thing that they're probably reporting, is that no deal is done because they're waiting for Aaron Rodgers. But all the reports prior to this, I mean, so there might be some mixed reports. Doesn't matter. There's still reports on both sides. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm pretty confident based on watching the president speak that this thing's done. This thing's inked. Heard it was a done deal. This right here, despite reports contrary to the Packers, Jets have not agreed to the framework of an Aaron Rodgers trade per sources. Oh, so per sources is going to take down what we already have up. So per source versus source. Your source versus my source. You know what I'm going to take? The Packers president. The Packers president's words that Aaron Rodgers is pretty much gone. Saying we're awaiting Aaron Rodgers' decision. It's rare for a quarterback to ever play for the same team. When he comes back, we'll retire his jersey from the president. What else do you need? I don't care about this report. Ian Rappaport retweeted it, but do you see where Ian Rappaport didn't tweet it? You see where Ian Rappaport merely retweeted his buddy's tweet, but Ian Rappaport didn't actually tweet it. I don't know. People are going to try and make news and break news this entire stretch. You'll hear people say it's done. You'll hear people say it's not done. You'll hear my source. Hold on. I got a source. Your source says that this report here from Thomas is not correct. Okay. Let me send this over on the screen to be completely fair and transparent that this tweet is out. That this tweet just dropped. Let's put it on screen here. This tweet just... Okay, hold on a second. Despite a report to the contrary, the Packers and Jets have not agreed to framework on an Aaron Rodgers trade per sources. Both sides continue to await word from Aaron Rodgers on his plans. If he decides he wants to go to New York, then the teams will work and hammer out a deal. Well, so what you're saying... This is my source. Hold on, guys. You're saying that what essentially he misconstrued is that, I mean, you can't do a deal until Aaron Rodgers comes back. That makes sense. So a deal's not actually hammered out because he has to decide to return. Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's why Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter only retweeted his tweet. I gotcha. Okay, we'll see you later, pal. Mom, get that meatloaf fired up. This is still in the works. D-Class's mom's a source. Smitty, what will the Packers get for Aaron Rodgers? That's a really good question, bro. That's a really good question. I'd probably say... I mean, looking at the draft picks here, I mean, that 13 overall, it could very well be in play. Could it be a future first? I suppose, but I mean, the Jets kind of, the Packers kind of have the Jets by the balls, you know. What's up, Derek Lincoln in the building? Hey, Ziggy. Is Aaron Rodgers headed to the New York Jets?
From 1045theyteam.com. It is sounding more and more like Aaron Rodgers will leave the Green Bay Packers for the New York Jets.
Let's go! Mashed potatoes!
Yeah, buddy.
He know? What's he know? We got D-Class's sources. Okay. Thoughts on Matt Ryan, Smitty? Who's Matt Ryan? Is that a guy still playing in the NFL, bro? No thoughts at all on Matt Ryan. Sauce said he's gonna be Sauce says it's gonna be a package of stuff. I don't know what really means by that. Hopefully Sauce Gardner's not in that package. Look, no, the he would never be traded. Sauce Gardner is an absolute monster. Jarrett says no sound, bro. Not accurate, Jarrett. Turn your volume up. There's a little button on the side of your phone, Jarrett. Just hit it up a couple times. You'll be able to hear the show just fine. Speechless. Tim says Smitty speechless. I am. How am I speechless? Garrett Wilson to the moon. Absolutely. Kenobi, he's going to be an absolute monster. Attaboy Ziggy says D-Class. Sources say, look, my Ziggy source told me this thing's as good as done. Okay. We'll be back, though. 140. Well, we'll be here. Let's take some phone calls first. 147 in the room. Going to have some conflicting reports over the next couple hours. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't announce that he's good to go with this trade, which is essentially done and agreed to terms, or at least even if it's been misconstrued a little bit and somebody relayed it a little bit, it's in the framework's in motion and essentially ready to be agreed upon. You can't agree on a trade until the player that wants to be traded is gone. Like, so there's no officially done trade yet. That's probably what people are trying to map out. Hey, these reports that they've agreed in terms, they can't agree in terms. It's a verbal. You know, they're working toward, maybe there's a tweak or two they still got to iron out. Like, we're not idiots. You know, this can't be done until it's done. And not to mention that a team in a verbal offer could still say, you know what, we changed our mind. We want Conklin. You know, we want Conklin and we want him now. That kind of stuff happens all the time. So that's probably why Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter are only retweeting Tommy Boy's tweet versus, you know, tweeting it themselves. And they don't have that information. So take it with a grain of salt. Take everything with a grain of salt, essentially. Ziggy wanted the spotlight. Okay. Appreciate it, TM. Doesn't the verbal part of free agency start tomorrow on the 12th? That's the other thing is, like, you guys everyone's got to relax. Like, we got to wait. You know what I mean? That's part of why Aaron Rodgers has said he's going to wait until the new year, you know? Steven, what's up, my guy?
Hey, what's going on, my man? Question for you.
Yeah.
This might be a little bit off the fantasy aspect, but because it's not really official. You think that some people should invest into to see what Aaron Rodgers' MVP odds are right now, and maybe like throw some money down on it before he gets traded to the Jets?
You should be getting your Sauce Gardner cards, your Garrett Wilson, football cards. You should be getting your MVP, futures in. Yeah, for sure. Jets futures. Even trying to predict some of the Lamar stuff is pretty.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at that one too. I was thinking about just for the hell of it, just throw the money down on futures on Aaron Rodgers and even Lamar before he gets, because with the way that how Vegas works, as soon as those guys go to a better team, those odds drastically change.
Aaron Rodgers MVP?
Yeah.
Is that a possibility? Aaron Rodgers MVP? Is that what we're talking about?
Hey, Smitty, I think so. With Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore can bounce back, and then you got your favorite Breece's Pieces out there. I mean, the only thing is that at tight end, I don't know how you feel about the tight end position that they have over there, because that guy that was going off on the Jets, he had a couple blow-up games. I mean, do you think that they'd address the tight end position once they get Aaron Rodgers?
They certainly could, bro. They certainly could. I think they're gonna be loading up, as best they can. Rodgers says he wants a team that's willing to load. Rodgers is about to see what full load droppage looks like.
Initiate full.
And if you think about it too, is that their defense is pretty good. I mean, I don't
Pretty.
know.
Wait, whoa. Pretty good, or number one defense in the entire National Football League? Good. Pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. No, they're definitely elite. They have that upside of finishing number one. I'll just saying in terms of compared to what Aaron Rodgers has had in Green Bay, I think that this defense could be right there with the elite defenses that Green Bay had.
Yeah, but look, this is, in my opinion, you add in the offensive component of helping the defense out with staying fresh. And there's such thing as good field position for a defense. You know what I mean? People always talk about offensive field position. The defense sets up the offense for good field position. It goes both ways. And if this defense is given shorter fields, if this defense is given more time to rest, everybody's saying, oh, this top five defense is still a top five defense. This top five defense with Aaron Rodgers stretching the field, burning the clock, getting the defense in good positioning all the time, makes them go from 5-6 to 1. And yeah, there's a lot of Niner fans who can be like, oh, the Niners are number one defense. Get ready for it. Get ready for it. Maybe it'll be neck and neck. They'll be the top two defenses in the league. I'm fine with that. I'm not saying that. I'm not predicting any decline here for the Niner D. I'm just merely saying that the way Christian McCaffrey supported the Niner defense wasn't the best defense in the league pre the Christian McCaffrey trade. They were kind of going up and down a little bit. They had moments when they had bad quarterback play where they were very questionable on defense, when you were like, wait a minute, did we just think this defense could be one of the best in the league? And then Christian McCaffrey comes and he's like a puzzle piece, just like Aaron Rodgers is a puzzle piece, and they will cascade into each other. They will feed into each other. And Aaron Rodgers to the moon, Aaron Rodgers taking this defense to the moon. This guy's never been so excited in his whole life. There's no way he's retiring. If he retires, this will be crazy. He has an opportunity to go play with the best team he's ever had. From top to bottom, defense, offense, wide receivers. I mean, you could say he's had as good a wide receiver, Devontae Adams. I get that. But in terms of like wide receivers with the defense, wide receivers with the running back, like this is a well-rounded squad. And you know what? I'll go as bold as to say Garrett Wilson could become as good as any wide receiver he's ever had. Could be. Not 100% will be. Could be. And that's how good this situation is for him. It really is. Like, is Adams probably going to go down as the best wide receiver he's ever played with? Yeah, probably. But I don't know. Garrett Wilson's going to give Devontae Adams a run for his money in terms of production tied to Aaron Rodgers as quarterback. I really believe that.
Do you think that they would, with these veteran free agents that are out there, you think they could add one of these guys? Like maybe they add Odell Beckham in there, and like, just because Odell Beckham will probably be cheap, and then they have Aaron Rodgers, and
absolutely
they have Odell Beckham.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Steven. Would you want to play with Brett Favre?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Brett Favre.
Aaron Rodgers? Yes.
Would you want to play with Aaron Rodgers? Okay.
Yeah.
Odell wants to play with Aaron Rodgers. I think anybody wants to play with Aaron Rodgers. And more importantly, playing for the New York Jets, that market's great. And the defense, everything is such an attractive place. There's a reason why you didn't hear any Las Vegas Raider talk like near the end of this, right? Because the defense blows. It doesn't have the whole package. Yeah. Maybe there's Devontae Adams. Maybe. And Devontae Adams, look, he made his own bed. I don't feel so bad for Devontae Adams right now. He made his own bed. He had a good thing with Aaron Rodgers. He wanted to go play with his best friend, Derek Carr. And we knew that this situation, as much as I love Derek Carr in New Orleans, and I do think Derek Carr's going to do well, we knew this wasn't the best situation. Las Vegas wasn't a great landing spot other than he would get a lot of targets. And in defense of Devontae Adams, he had a great year. So fantasy-wise, it ended up working out. But look at him now. He's clamoring, begging for Aaron Rodgers to come because he's got no quarterback. He's about to be handed Jimmy G. Bro, unless the Raiders make a bold trade with the Cardinals at number 3 overall and go get that pick, which is possible. The Raiders don't trade down from the Cardinals to the 3 to the 7 and the Raiders from the 7 to the 3. They're in trouble. They're probably not getting Levis here at 7. They'll probably reach for Hendon Hooker or do something crazy or bring in Jimmy G and get Hendon Hooker later. Stetson Bennett's pretty decent later on if anybody wants a QB. But the Raiders are desperate. Adams made his own bed. He got greedy. He wanted to go play with his buddy. And now, look, he's begging for A-Rod, and A-Rod's not even looking in their direction. Why? Because they have no defense. They don't have the whole package. The New York Jets have it all. And all these New York Jets haters, they're the same haters that hate the Eagles. Oh, Eagles just completely crapped the bed. The Eagles almost won the Super Bowl. The Eagles were one play away, essentially, from winning the Super Bowl, or a couple plays away. And people complain about them, cry and moan, and act like the Eagles fans are crying. They went to the Super Bowl. Like all these people saying the Eagle fans are crying. The Eagle fans and Eagles went to the Super Bowl. You didn't go to the Super Bowl. You have no room to talk. You might as well just close your mouth. And so, Aaron Rodgers, look, this team is going to be phenomenal. The New York Jets, people are going to run their mouth the same way they currently still are about the Eagles. You see Darius Slay. requesting a trade. Everybody's in up in arms. This is going to be great. Did Eagle decline? Oh, my God. Eagles are going to be fine. Does anybody realize everybody's saying the Eagles are on the decline? Slay wants out, all this. Does anybody realize something? Let me refresh memories about the Eagles. They have the number 10 pick. They have the number 30 pick. I think they'll be okay. I think they could survive anything that ends up happening. The New York Jets. The Jets are the Jets. Smitty, they're the Jets. They're the New York Jets. Have you been paying attention, Negative Noah? Have you been paying attention, Upset Unger? Have you opened your eyeballs? Did you realize that a couple drafts ago, this team had the best draft in the history of the NFL? The best draft I've ever seen in my entire life. And I've been covering this from a professional analyst, scouting profession and angle. I've been covering it from that for over 20 years. I have never seen a team dominate the draft like the New York Jets did during the Sauce Gardner draft. They dominated the draft. Best draft I've ever seen in my life. This team is transformed. It's been awaiting a quarterback. Once the quarterback gets into this starting lineup, it's potential Super Bowl run.
Yeah, and also another guy I think that could be. I mean, I don't really know because like it's not really state tax out there, but I feel like Tyreek Hill could be kicking himself too with that. Like Aaron Rodgers, like choosing Miami over the Jets. I mean, yeah, like he's definitely like doing good, but like especially with Aaron Rodgers, if they have like Tyreek Hill over there with Aaron Rodgers too, I think that'd be even more of a Super Bowl run.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's not happening now. But I mean Tyreek Hill's in a good spot. Like let me say this, bro. As much as I believe that this could be derailed for Mike McDaniel in Miami, I think we very very well could see Slay in Miami. I think we could very well see the Miami Dolphins make two extremely aggressive, bold defensive moves to kind of counterbalance and offset the risk level of Tua, and just up their defensive game, 5x5. I think the Miami Dolphins are going to get very aggressive. People are going to forget for one slight moment until we get really close to March 15 or like the day after March 15 when Miami Mike is struck. Miami Mike is the most aggressive coach in the National Football League. If anybody thinks the Miami Dolphins are staying exactly where they are, maybe they are with quarterback. Maybe they go get a guy like Mike White, or they get a real comfortable backup, and I'm going to be excited about that because then that supports the narrative that Miami Mike does know what he's doing and he's not completely blind to his vulnerabilities. But I believe we all are pretending for a moment, or we're forgetting for a moment, that Miami Mike is the most aggressive coach in the National Football League. And if people think he's done now because he made moves last offseason, get ready, because Miami Mike might make 2 or 3 or at least 1 or 2 big moves and put the Miami Dolphins in the driver's seat to be not only a playoff, a total wild card, winner. They're going to grab one of those wild card spots, one of the 3, but they could be a division winner, and in their tough division with the Buffalo Bills, with the Patriots. Look, this is not locked and loaded to where like Buffalo's likely the division winner, but Miami is not going to go down quietly, and Miami Mike is not going to sit back and just take what he has currently into the season. He's going to be aggressive, and it's probably going to be a lot of defense too. People aren't expecting.
Well, because you're talking about that with the defense. Maybe a guy that they could probably go after is Jalen Ramsey, because they're talking about that the Rams have him on the trade block.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the move that he does. Instead of getting Darius Slay, he goes out and gets Jalen Ramsey. Yeah,
one or the other. He's going to be aggressive on defense. He's going to be aggressive on defense. It's going to be unbelievable. Now, in talking about that division, the Jets could win the division. This is probably the toughest division in football. Like we thought that the AFC West was going to be last year. We're talking about Mahomes. You got Russell Wilson cooking. You got the Raiders are so packed and ready to just win the division. And it laid an egg, bro. It crapped the bed. That division was not even close to what we thought it was. But this division, I honestly believe that the AFC West is going to be the toughest division of football by far. But any one of the Jets, the Bills, the Dolphins could win that division. I mean the Patriots, I don't think they'll win the division, but the Patriots are going to be tougher than people think because, Bill Belichick can put together a good team anytime and tough wins and defense and all that. So, but I firmly believe that the Jets and the Miami Dolphins are going to win wild card spots. This is going to be the AFC West, projected AFC West we thought. Last year, this is going to be, though, in the AFC East. It's going to be 3 teams from the AFC East going to the playoffs. That means that the division winner, let's say it's the Bills, and the two of the 3 wild card spots are coming from the AFC East. It's an insane division.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Jets flew out to talk to Rodgers. I'm sure they're on the same page. It says way up. Thumbs up, says Derek Lincoln. Mahomes and Burrow will win the next 5 Super Bowls. They're definitely going to be, front runner candidates. It's going to be like, how do we take out Mahomes, Burrow? And I think Josh Allen gets back in this mix. People discrediting Josh Allen and discounting him and ruling him out of the number 1 quarterback overall in the NFL and in fantasy any given year are completely forgetting how good Josh Allen is. Is he more mistake-prone, Brett Favre, throw interceptions, but then throw a bunch of touchdowns and be good with that? That's just his style. Like, he's going to have years where he throws it away, and he's going to have years where he absolutely crushes it. And a lot of it's on the Bills balancing their offenses. A lot of it's on the Bills coming in and saying, let's trade for Derrick Henry. Let's trade for Nick Chubb. Let's draft a hard-nosed running back. Let's get back to balance, because when they were balanced, when Singletary's not even a gem of a running back. When Singletary was doing Singletary things in the final stretch of the season, not this past playoff run, but last year from 4 games left in the season through the playoffs, his final 7 games played, Singletary was scoring, and playing like a high-end running back, one, and people forget. But it wasn't Singletary, it was the Buffalo Bills. The fact that the Buffalo Bills are so good at throwing the football, they have the ability to have an amazing running game, but they just sometimes choose not to deploy that. And I think it's on the Buffalo Bills to try and balance their offense out to make Josh Allen impossible to shut down. Because Josh Allen, if anybody thinks Josh Allen is not capable of being the best quarterback in the NFL, 2 out of the next 5-6 years, you're crazy. You're crazy, because he absolutely could be. If anybody thinks Mahomes can't be, or Joe Burrow can't be, or Jalen Hurts can't be the number 1 quarterback in the NFL or in fantasy football for 2 or 3 years out of the next 5 years, you're crazy. All 4 of them can be, but we have a new player to introduce into that tier 1, and it's Justin Fields, because now he's got DJ Moore and a team that's just going to be a whole lot better. And so Fields is at the bottom of that tier, but he's certainly now a tier 1 quarterback. Ron Navy, you're live.
What's up, Smitty?
What's up? We're just waiting. Waiting on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Oh, well, as soon as that deal's completed and Rodgers is going to the Jets, there's going to be 2 teams out of the AFC East that make the playoffs, not 3. Miami's not going to make it. I'm sorry. I know you're optimistic, but Miami's not going to make it this year. I'm sorry. They're not going to make it. Tua's not going to make it. I don't care what they do with their defense. They're not going to make the playoffs. There's going to be 2, Buffalo and the Jets, and then your other playoff teams will. I mean, I think the Steelers will make it this year, of course, but Cincinnati will definitely be in there. Steelers will be in there. I think Mahomes, of course. Kansas City's going to be in there, and who knows? I
think when we look at the division, so let's go through the AFC. I think the Buffalo Bills are the best candidate to win the division. So it's going to be the Jets and the Dolphins trying to vie for one of the 3 wild card spots each. They're both trying to vie for it. Bengals win the division in the AFC North. I know you think the Steelers could, and that's fine. I think the Steelers are in the mix to try and get one of the 3 wildcard spots that are available to the conference. So we got the Dolphins, we got the Jets, we got the Steelers vying for a wildcard spot, and there's only 3 of them. I don't think the Browns have a shot. I don't think the Ravens have a shot. Obviously, if they lose Lamar, they don't have a shot. The Jaguars win the AFC South. I think the Colts, I think they're too far away they're more than a year away. Texans are about a year away. They may do what the Detroit Lions did last year, show flashes of greatness, not make the playoffs, but definitely showing up. Titans, give me a break. Jaguars easily win that division. Nobody from the AFC South is grabbing a wild card spot, in my opinion. So then we get back down to the AFC West. Chiefs win the division. So the question is, do the Broncos bounce back? Maybe they bounce back, but they gotta beat out and we'll use Ron Steelers, the Jets, and the Dolphins for the wild card spot. I don't think the Broncos grab the wild card spots. One of them. The Raiders, if they don't get Aaron Rodgers, which they're not going to get, they're toast. The Chargers are the only team in that division with the Kansas City Chiefs that have a wild card spot capability. So it comes down to the Chargers, the Steelers, the Miami Dolphins, and the Jets. Now, of course, it's going to be a close race between all those guys, but those are the wild card competition, crew, in my opinion. And maybe the Patriots because of defense, but I just don't think they have the offense to do it. And I think Mac Jones is garbage. If they don't move over to Zappy immediately, this team's not winning 9 games. And that's not going to get you a wild card spot in a very competitive conference. So yeah, so it's Steelers, it's Steelers, it's
the Jets.
Yeah, Steelers, the Chargers, the Jets, and the Dolphins. That's it.
And I'll take the Chargers over Miami this coming year because I don't trust Tua to make it. I think the Chargers have their defense is better than Miami's, the Chargers got to shore up some stuff, but I think Herbert's going to come back and have a fantastic year. He's coming off of a year of being badly injured, but he's not coming off of concussion stuff. So Miami, unless Miami Mike does something phenomenal and gets a quarterback in there, I'll change my mind maybe if he does that, but I just don't see it happening.
I don't know if you heard what I said. I don't know if you heard what I said earlier, that I think for everybody that thinks Miami Mike, and it might not be quarterback, but he'll bring in like a Mike White, he'll bring in a competent backup. But if anybody thinks that Miami Mike is done trading aggressively and in acquiring like Darius Slay, Ramsey, Orlando Brown, like those are huge things that are potentially on the radar and within grasp of Miami Mike. He's so aggressive. I think he's going to make a couple. This is kind of part of my prediction. I think he's going to make a couple very aggressive moves here in less than 5 days. And so I just think that if we judge Miami off of the Miami Dolphin team and roster that's there right now, we're really underestimating Miami Mike, and I'm not doing that. I get what you're saying, and Ron, like I mapped out, all those teams are very capable of grabbing one of the wild card spots. So it'll be a close race, but the good news is there's not that many teams vying for that, in my opinion. The AFC overall is strong in terms of like the 10, 11 teams that are potentially in the mix. But it doesn't have like a lot of depth in some of these divisions. They're very, very weak and they're falling apart. From the NFC real quickly, Eagles win the division in the NFC East, in my opinion. Cowboys, Giants are definitely capable of giving the Eagles a run for their money, but the Eagles are just too tough. So Cowboys and Giants in the wild card race. So those are two teams already. So similar to the AFC East being one of the strongest divisions, the NFC East might be the strongest division in the NFC. It might be the best division in the NFC. So 3 teams right there potentially in the playoffs out of the NFC East. So Eagles win, Cowboys, Giants in the hunt. Vikings, Lions, Packers, Bears. Give me the Lions to win the division. I think the Lions win the division. The Vikings will be in the wild card race with the Cowboys and Giants. Buccaneers, Panthers, Saints, Falcons. Give me the Saints. If the Falcons acquire Lamar, despite the negative, reports that the Falcons are out, I think the Saints win that division, and I don't think anybody's close. and I don't think any of them are wild card contenders. The Niners probably win the division in the NFC West. Don't rule out the Seahawks surprising some people. The Rams maybe could be a wild card contending team. So you have Seahawks, Rams, Vikings, Giants, and Cowboys. That's a much tougher wild card race. So the NFC is standing strong. The NFC actually has more depth than the AFC in terms of playoff contending teams, playoff caliber teams, in my opinion, which is odd because last year it felt different. It felt the opposite.
Okay, but as we know right now, and I will say this, is, as of right now, so-called Atlanta's out on Lamar. But I don't think that's necessarily true. And if Atlanta does somehow acquire Lamar, I think it's a two-team race in the South, NFC South. I think it'll be between Atlanta and New Orleans, and Atlanta could get a playoff spot if Lamar does land in Atlanta with the weapons that they have.
Yeah, I said that. That's what I said. That if Lamar does get traded.
Love, because we don't know what Love is capable of yet. We've seen we've seen some good flashes of Love playing in a few games, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Green Bay's not going to be a rollover.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
So,
they're in the mix too. I should have said Green Bay in the mix for a wild card spot. They will be. They will be.
The difference between Detroit and Minnesota, I'm not going to say Minnesota's going to win it. I'm not going to say Detroit's going to win it. I will say, though, if Minnesota goes into the draft in free agency and really improves their defense, if they're able to improve their defense, they'll take the North. If they have the same type of defense, they're not going to win it, because that was the big thing last year. That's why you had so many Minnesota close games, is the defense just totally let them down all year long. And everybody always wants to blame the offense, but the offense was scoring points, with the exception of a few games. The offense was scoring points, big points every week, pretty much. And it was the defense that was letting them down. It was the defense that wasn't holding the other team from scoring. So if Minnesota can improve their defense, I think Minnesota still gets the North, and then Detroit will get a wild card.
Maybe.
If
I
not,
do agree.
then,
I do agree with you on the Green Bay thing. They should be in the wild card mix. I think Jordan Love will be good enough, but do I think they're on the lower end of that entire group? Probably, but yeah, of course, where Lamar goes mixes all this up. But like I said at the beginning, Saints, Falcons, if Lamar's there, I agree, are the fight for the NFC South. But as it stands right now, Lamar's not there. There's reports Lamar's not going there. I don't know that I buy him, I'm like you. But Saints right now win the division, and it's a trash division until Lamar enters the equation, if he does.
Right.
But yeah, Lions. I mean, look, Vikings, Lions, Packers. Honestly, Vikings, Lions, Packers, Bears. What about the Bears? What are we talking about? The Bears.
I don't think the Bears will be better this year. I think it's improved.
I think they're a wild card team. They're a wild card team. What am I doing? I'm leaving the Bears out. I'm sorry about that. They're a wild card team. They're a wild card contending team. I don't know that they'll 100% secure it, but they're a wild card team now with DJ Moore. And if they draft Bijan, which Ron and I think Ron, you said it's possible. If they draft Bijan, they're firmly in the wild card race. Firmly. They may even have the potential to win the division, to be honest with you. The Bears, if they grab a huge offensive piece to help support Fields, and you got DJ Moore, Bijan, and Fields, why can't they win the division? Why can't they beat the Lions, who are no lock? They're an exciting division winner prediction. And why can't they beat the Vikings, who are kind of a paper tiger? You know, at the end of the day, they get in the playoffs, they're a paper tiger. The Vikings have potential. They've got a lot of weapons, but like the Cowboys and I hate to say this for my Cowboy fans and followers out there, but the Cowboys are very tough during the regular season, and that's why the Vikings could win the division. But they are paper tigers at the end of the day, or at least have proven to be. Maybe they prove differently. Maybe you're right, Ron. They address things in free agency in the draft, and they're aggressive. But why can't the Bears win the division? They could. I need to give the Bears credit. The Bears are now on the map on my predictions. Let's go.
I think the Bears going to be two years away. I mean, I don't think this coming year, but maybe the year after that, because they're going to even have some more picks. And depending on how Carolina, like we discussed yesterday, how Carolina finishes, they could end up with high first-round picks next year also. And, I think more so the Bears next year than this coming year.
Steven?
I was just going to say, I think that the Bears could – I want to agree with you that I think the Bears can compete just because the GM's been aggressive. And they have $100 million in cap space, and there is a lot of good defensive pieces out there. I feel like you guys you're talking about, they do go Bijan, and then with the free agency, with a lot of these guys, that's out there in free agency for defense, if they can fix up the defense, I think that they could end up being a playoff team. Just because if you look at the NFC, you were listing off some of those teams. If you think about it, the NFC, it really isn't that strong. So it could help the Bears can end up being in a perfect spot. If their offense clicks and they find the right guys on defense, they could probably be in the mix for a playoff spot. And I think they can win the division too if they plan it right.
So here's my picks here. So there's the AFC. AFC division winners right here: Bills, Bengals, Jaguars, Chiefs. Those are my division winners. The wild cards are going to be Dolphins, Jets, Steelers. And no offense, Ron, but the Steelers are, until they prove it, are going to be on the lower end for me. But they're definitely in the mix. But I think the Titans, Colts, and Texans, no way. Chargers, maybe the Broncos, but I just don't know that I'm ready to go there. My division winners will be my wild card teams will be the Dolphins, the Jets, and it's going to come down between the Steelers and the Chargers. So the NFC, let's go down to the NFC. It's going to be. Let me see if I can get this marker here. The NFC.
Don't forget, what happens if Detroit ends up drafting Bijan? That changes things significantly.
Yeah, so Philly. So the Eagles. The you know what? I'm taking a weird hard right turn from what I first said when I kicked this out. I'm gonna say Chicago wins the division. I mean, the thing is, the Vikings, Lions, and Packers are in no more secure positioning than the Bears. They're all very, very good. It's a pretty good division. The NFC North is a very competitive division. That's gonna come down to the wire, and I think it's gonna be a really close race between all four teams. Packers reliant on Jordan Love producing, but you could say the Lions have to rely on Goff reproducing and doing what he did last year, and some question whether he'd have the year he had last year. So let's not pretend like Goff is a lock. He had a great year. It's okay, Tannehill had great years and then fell apart. So it's not like Goff couldn't fall apart. Vikings, like I said, they're very good during the regular season. They could clinch the division. I'm doing this. I'm changing it. Chicago wins the division. Then we got New Orleans. So Saints win the division, and then I'm going with the Niners that win the division. Okay, so then my wild card teams are going to be Seattle. We're going to say no one from the NFC South unless Lamar ends up in. And of course, where Lamar goes changes everything, because wherever he goes, that's a playoff contending team. Even Baltimore, but I think he busts in Baltimore like he always does. Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, Dallas, and the Giants. Look, I know you said, Steven, that you think the NFC is weaker or something. I don't think so. Look at this slate of wild card contenders: Seattle, Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, Dallas, New York Giants. That is a plethora of teams fighting for 3 wild card spots. I think the NFC stacked. I think it's deeper. It's deeper. If I had to pick, I would say, boy, this is so tough. I'd say Dallas, the Giants, and it's between Seattle and Detroit for me.
I'm gonna pick, since you had Chicago as a bold pick to win their division, I'm gonna say Seattle wins the West and the Niners end up with a wild card.
Hey, look, Seattle's a good team. That wouldn't be that crazy. I like it. Don't forget the Browns, says Jack of all trades. I'm not into the Browns, bro. I don't even have them fighting for a wild card spot. I just feel like it's...
They're
I
a
don't
mess.
know.
Especially right
they don't-
now, Purdy
really
having
have-
his
they really
have that quarterback controversy coming up, and the Niners I just think are going to slip a little this year. I think they're still going to be a strong team and have strong defense, but yeah, I think Seattle's going to improve enough to take the division.
We've got a little. I think Jack of all trades has been creating a little controversy in the chat, which I love because he's the Jack of all trades of controversy of whatever. He's been saying that Larry Bird's better than Jordan. He's been saying it over and over and over, and I've hit take a lap on him. I've hit take a lap on him a couple times, but then we got Legion now piling on, and Legion says, "Why do so many people consider Jordan the GOAT?" Legion, were you alive or were you capable? Were you old enough to watch Jordan play? Because there's no way somebody that watched Jordan play could say that. Like, first of all, let me explain something, Legion. Jordan won 3 straight championships. I got a marker all over my finger. 3 straight championships Jordan won. A three-peat? Twice. He won 3 championships in a row, took, I believe, a 2-year break, then won 3 championships in a row. Three-peat times 2. No one has ever done that. No one will probably ever do that ever again. And that's just not the ring argument. He was the best defensive player in the NBA. He would run circles around the current NBA. He would score 50 points a game. Allen Iverson, I don't know if you respect Allen Iverson, Legion, but Allen Iverson said if Jordan played in today's soft NBA, I'm talking soft. These guys are soft. Absolutely soft compared to the old NBA. I don't even want to hear it. People think, oh, you look at Larry Bird's short shorts, and Jack, I'll defend you here. You look at Larry Bird's short shorts, and you think Bird's not good, or he wouldn't serve. Bird would run the league. Bird would run the league. Jordan would run the league. Jack, that doesn't mean Bird's better than Jordan, though. But Jack, people don't realize how good Bird was. Jordan would destroy the current soft NBA. Absolutely destruct everybody. He'd score, Allen Iverson said he'd score 50 points a game. 50 points a game. Yeah, and to Paul's point, Jordan would have won 8 straight titles if he played in today's NBA. Like, and he didn't get super teams. You didn't get to do all that. This guy played with Pippen and Grant and Kerr, Steve Kerr. He had a Rodman. These were not super teams, but for people to think, Legion, no offense, you're my boy, but that Jordan was good only because of the rings, bro. Have you watched any of his footage? Have you watched anything? I don't understand. Oh, Legion says, Smitty, you read my post wrong. Why do so many people consider Jordan the GOAT? The rings, period. Oh, he's asking the question. Okay, sorry, Legion. The way it reads like you're.
He was the type of player.
Sorry,
that
Legion.
He had the best work ethic of any NBA player. He
Legion.
played in a time when it was rough and it was more physical. He played under conditions. I mean, the guy had food poisoning. He still goes out and has one of the best games ever in a final, and he still nails it. I mean, there is nobody out there that can rise like Jordan, that has risen like Jordan. Jordan is the GOAT. I don't care what people say about LeBron. LeBron's playing in a soft. He plays a totally different position, but he also plays in a soft NBA where the physical contact's not even 75% of what it was back in Jordan's era. Back when you had, the Parishes and the Detroit Pistons teams. I mean, those were all hard hitting, fouling teams, very physical. And now it's all ticky-tack. It's like, okay, we're all about wanting to boost. Kind of like the NFL, right? The NFL is the same way. The old NFL was just hit and grind and just, all that stuff. And now it's like pity-pat, It's like it comes down to the Pro Bowl being a flag football game. Oh, my God. What the hell is wrong with that flag football Pro Bowl game? Really?
Yeah,
and the
that was
NBA,
ridiculous.
They're in the NBA as far as ticky tack fouls.
All right, we got we got to get back to football. We got to get back to football. The views are dropping. Anyway, I don't have any new information, guys. Nothing's posted on Aaron Rodgers. We got someone from the 203 calling in. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show.
Hey, how you doing, boss?
What's up?
What's up? I just wanted to touch on what the previous caller said about Jordan in that era. Jordan's era.
Briefly, because we are in the Aaron Rodgers mode. Everyone's here for Aaron Rodgers. So you got 25 seconds. Go.
Okay, let me talk about Aaron Rodgers. I really hope Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets. I'm a Jets fan, and hopefully that happens. And the back and forth is kind of leaving me a little skeptical because if the deal isn't done, I'm hearing we're just waiting on Aaron to say the okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That leaves me, pause for concern. But hopefully it gets done. That's all I wanted to add to the conversation.
Yeah, Tom Pelissero is saying that despite there's not an agreement in place, but guys, the new league year hasn't happened, so of course an agreement isn't technically, it's verbal at this point. Like they're talking and saying, hey, this is what we send you. Okay, well, go ahead. Let's wait on Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Like that's where we're at. So, could there be some finer details that still need to be ironed out? Could people change their mind? Is it a blood bond? Did they cut their hands and shake hands and spit on it? Like, I mean, we don't. Of course, there's potential framework issues or ironing out of things, like, but the terms, the general terms, and the what they want to do, whether it's going to get done too. Like that's a lot of when they say agreed to terms. Like it's probably like, hey, we're gonna make this happen, right? Yeah, we'll get it done. All right, Bob, we'll hear from you. Once Aaron Rodgers announces it. Call me back. We'll iron it out. Like, of course, there's probably a little bit of like tweaking that needs to go on because nothing can be official. But yeah. Hey,
let's say that Aaron Rodgers does go. What do you think happens to the Jets? Where do you think they go? How far do you think they could go?
I mean, I spent about 30 minutes on the beginning of the show on it. I said they're a top 6 to 8 overall team. They're a Super Bowl contender this year. They could win a Super Bowl within 2 years if Aaron Rodgers stays for 2 years. Breece Hall is going to absolutely have more room to run and potentially have way more touchdowns than he would have had, and that might compensate for maybe less explosion for the first half of the season. Garrett Wilson's a 5 to 8 wide receiver without Aaron Rodgers, even with Mike White or someone in there. With Aaron Rodgers, he's a top 1 to 4 wide receiver. So it's just a big difference. It's just a big bump. Sauce Gardner and the defense are a top 5 defense without Aaron Rodgers because they're always on the field. They're always tired. They're not in good field position. Field position is important for defense as much as it's important for offense. And the two are going to work together to put the defense in good field position. The defense put the offense in good field position. Sauce Gardner and that defense are the number 1 defense in the NFL and in fantasy football in 2023. So it's a huge impact all around. Real quickly, I want to know I'm sorry, what was your name, bro?
Gerson.
Burton?
Gerson. Gerson.
Gerson.
Person with a G, yes.
Okay, Gerson. I do want to hear your 25-second rant on Jordan, though.
On Jordan? Listen, okay. Listen, everybody always points to the fact that there was a lot of physicality in the game back in the day. I mean, you had a couple of players that played physical. Not everybody in the league was like that. You know what I mean? I do respect Jordan. He is the greatest, probably the greatest player to ever play. But when I hear the argument about the physicality, I always shake my head and saying that yes, it was physical, but it was coming from a contained group of people. I don't think everybody in the league was this hardcore, hit them over the head type of player. And I go back and I do watch old footage, and when I look at it, I'm just like, okay, there was a handful of people who were physical, and the league has changed. It is a little softer, but that's not to say that somebody like LeBron couldn't adapt to the way that it was played back in the day. And I think it's our fault. It's the players' fault who instituted this, fouling and always crying for the ball. That's why we are where we are now. It's not all on the new players. I think it started with the old players. If you look back, the old players used to.
Here's my argument, and this is, I don't want to go too long on this, but I can tell based on your statement of you watched old footage, you didn't see it then. I've seen both eras, bro, and I think when you watch both eras, you have a little bit more authority on the topic. Anybody that says Jordan wasn't the GOAT or that the times weren't as good, those are people that didn't see it. Like seeing old footage, grainy footage. Not understanding the rivalries, not really understanding that literally the Portland Trailblazers and the Pistons and the Boston Celtics, the Chicago Bulls, all these teams were that aggressive grit, like, crazy aggressive. It was just a different era. I watched both of them. Like I know most people.
I watched the tail end of '94. That's when I was a real hardcore, and I was a Chicago fan to add to that.
And I think,
end of '94.
You know who I think I would trust more than anything? People that you do respect that speak on it, like Allen Iverson, or you talk to somebody and they say it's not even close. It's not even close. Anybody that tries to compare Jordan to a current NBA player, you can't do it. And even if you try and piece it together and say, well, what if we put Jordan here? What if we put LeBron here? I agree with you. You put LeBron in the olden days, he would adapt. He would still be one of the greatest of all time. I'm not saying LeBron's not one of the greatest of all time, but it was crazy different, bro. It was more aggressive. The defense was tougher defense. That's the whole point. When people say it's a tougher league, defense was tougher. You wouldn't score as many points. LeBron would not score near as many points as he does today in the old NBA. It's just the defense was tougher. It may not look it on old footage, but it was, bro. And the calls are different, the refereeing's different, the whole game's different. And Allen Iverson, like when Allen Iverson tells you, one of the greatest scorers of all time, tells you Jordan would score 50 points a game. He's not kidding. Jordan would score 50 points a game in the current NBA.
I agree with that, but I'm just saying, I agree with that, and all I'm saying is, from what I've seen and from the time that I was watching when I was in like 8th grade around '94, everything wasn't as physical as what they make it out to be. That's all I got to say.
Well,
it was, and it was more competitive. The East and the West was very more competitive. As far as all the different teams, because like in the West you had LA, you had Phoenix, you had Utah, you had Portland, you had Seattle, and in the East you had Chicago, you had Philly, you had the Knicks, you had Detroit banging all the time, you had Boston, you had all those teams, even had Indiana in there for a while. There was a lot more tougher competition. The players were more, there was none of this, I'm going to go play with so-and-so and make a super team here and there. It was more competitive, and it was a lot more physical. I mean, look at Philly in the days of Iverson. Even before that, you had Dr. J, and you had Barkley, and you had all those guys. You had Parrish. You had just a lot more physical players, and if you really lived, and I did, I mean, I was during I was in high school and in the 80s, the 70s and 80s, I was all in.
All right, we got to move on, guys. Yeah, Ron's right. I mean, Shaq. I mean, come on. Even Shaq back in the day, like at the the tail end of that, but it's all a very different game. But I get where people are coming from. Look, if you didn't live in both eras, you can't know. So it's no one's fault. But anyway, let's move on. Let's see. Jarrett update. Rodgers, Packers, Jets have not come to terms. We've already talked about that. That there's a Palacero report that it's not inked yet. Of course it's not inked yet. Of course it's not officially done yet. So, but there's a reason why Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter aren't actually tweeting that out. They're retweeting Palacero's report. But this thing's as good as done. It's just the details can't be worked out yet. So I think that's more what Palacero's trying to point out. But this thing's on its way. I'll be back. I imagine today or tomorrow I'll be live on this. I do got to go right now. Steven, final 10 seconds. Gerson, I'll give you the next 10 seconds. Steven, final 10 seconds. What are you thinking? All right, Steven. Appreciate you, Steven. You're on mute or I don't know where you were. Gerson, you got 10 seconds. Go.
Yes, I would love it if Aaron Rodgers would come to the Jets. That would make my year a great year. Hopefully it happens. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, appreciate you, Gerson. Call back anytime. Ron Navy, last
no
10 seconds. What do you got?
Oh, I'm good. I've said enough. Goodbye.
Hey, Ron. When do we hear this Aaron Rodgers news?
With Aaron Rodgers, I mean, you would hope that you would hear it soon, but maybe by the 15th, hopefully.
You don't think we hear today or tomorrow?
I would hope so, but with Aaron Rodgers, you never know, right? I mean, he'll probably be able to go on the Pat McAfee show or something like that, and that won't be until at least Monday or something.
Yeah, I kind of feel like because there's so much buzz around it right now, I think he, as much as he does, move to the beat of his own drum, he is also still kind of like, I'd say, he cares what people think of him, and he doesn't. He's kind of a mixed bag. But I think that he totally wants to put an end to this, I'm sure. And I think he wants these teams to have the momentum to go into free agency, not told in the final hour, hey, here's what I want to do. I think he does want to try and respect both sides a little bit. And I think given this is all leaked out and already here, that he'll want to come in and kind of grab a hold of the narrative versus let it get out of control. So I think maybe we hear today. Maybe we hear tomorrow. I think at the latest we hear Monday. It might be a Monday morning thing. Monday at noon, Eastern, we hear it, and we're breaking it live. But I have everything ready to go in case this happens. I'm going to step out for like an hour or two. Hopefully it doesn't happen, or I'm going to have to race back home. Ron, appreciate you, and I'll see you tonight. And if not earlier with
I missed the whole graveyard thing.
Yeah, that's right.
I went back. It was a really good show that you guys, drafts you guys had. It was interesting. And, hey, did you know that now if you want to get into that underdog freshman, sophomore draft, it's automatic 8-hour slow draft now. You can no longer do the 13 draft.
Good to know. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. We're going to be drafting tonight, so make sure you go to the link in the description right now and you get signed up because and I'll even drop the link right now in the live chat, because if you don't do that now, you're not going to get into the drafts tonight because they fill up instantly and you got to already be signed up or it takes too long. So sign up now. The link's in the live chat, links in the description. Ron, I'll see you tonight or earlier.
All right.
Later.
All right.
All right, guys. Appreciate you. See you later.